Part 5, Section 2, Chapter 8 of Short History of the Christian Church by John Fletcher Hurst. This recording is in the public domain. Chapter 8, The Reformed Churches. While Whitefield was arousing the churches of America with his impetuous eloquence, Frelinghuysen was doing the same work for the Dutch churches, especially in New Jersey. Many churches were organized, but there were very few ministers. During the first part of the 18th century, Presbyterian ministers were often secured for the churches. Vexatious delays were experienced in effecting an organization. The tie to the homeland was a source of weakness, as it prevented a sturdy self-development. Finally, in 1747, a coetus or assembly was formed by the Rev. Michael Schlatter, who headed a commission from the Amsterdam classis. But the power of this coetus was so limited that it hardly improved the condition of affairs. In 1753 it transformed itself into a classis on its own responsibility, but this so offended the more conservative members that they seceded, and established a Confrentic, which made much of the relationship with Holland. For years the controversy between these two bodies was carried on with extreme bitterness, wasting the Church with strife. In 1770 the parties came together, and in the following year effected an independent organization, the claims of the American party being generally conceded. The national independence confirmed this result, and blew away the last breath of suspicion. The name of the Church as then adopted was the Reformed Protestant Dutch Church of North America, which was changed in 1867 to that of the Reformed Church in America. The doctrines of the Dutch Church are of an extreme Calvinistic type, and more creeds are confessed than is the case with any other church in the world, perhaps with the exception of the Roman Catholic. The Apostles' Creed, the Nicene, the Athanasian (footnote: no other Protestant church in America formally receives this famous symbol), the Belgic Confession (1561), the Canons of Dort (1618-19), and the Heidelberg Catechism (1563), are held aloft as the standards of the faith. Parents presenting their children for baptism must avow adherence to the doctrines of the Church, and pledge the bringing up of their offspring in the same stern belief. The rigidity of her theology, however, does not prevent the Reformed Dutch Church from exemplifying a large charity in her relations with other Christian churches, and she has not been unaffected by the liberal currents of modern times. In 1770 the charter for Queen's College, New Jersey, was obtained, an institution which has had an honorable history under the name of Rutgers College. The Theological Seminary at New Brunswick, New Jersey, dates its first professorship in 1784, and thus claims a much older life than Andover. The Church has had a noble activity in missionary and other enterprises. She has trained a learned and industrious ministry, and her membership has been characterized by rare intelligence and purity of life. The German Reformed Church is made up largely of the descendants of the Palatinate immigration. One of their first ministers was the Rev. George Michael Weiss, who reported their needs to the old country. Their first settled minister was Philip Boehm, who came to America in 1720, and whose church was in Whitpain Township, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. The real father of the church was Michael Schlatter, 1746, who organized and consolidated the scattered churches. It is remarkable that his appeal for funds in Europe in 1751 secured £20,000 from George II and the nobility of England. In 1793 the Church became independent. The first coetus, or synod, was formed September 27th, 1747. In 1869 the name of the Church was changed to that of the Reformed Church of the United States. The Heidelberg Catechism is the only legal standard of doctrine. This church has contributed greatly to the development of theology in America. Dr. F. A. Rauch gave an original tone to American philosophy, and the theological labors of Dr. John W. Nevin made a profound and widespread impression. He created a voluminous discussion. In this work he was assisted by Dr. Philip Schaff, who came over from Germany in 1844, and entered upon his work at Mercersburg with the zeal of an athlete, and his inaugural address on the Principles of Protestantism, published in 1854, struck a new keynote in our history. It was a plea for a broader and more Catholic conception of the Church, and one more in harmony with the idea of historical development. The German Reformed Church is not a large one, but its influence on American thought and religious life has been most beneficial. End of chapter 8.